matters land? Where do you start when it concerns seeking justice on these particular matters? And when can you actually go to court when the issues to do with environment are concerned, or you feel like your environmental rights are being disregarded by either a company that you're residing next to or is operating next to you? Of course, we'll be getting into the details of that on this show this morning. Also on Matters News, of course, it is just, we're counting hours before the State of the Nation address, that is by President William Ruto, which will be happening tomorrow. Of course, giving us the State of the Nation and taking stock of what has happened this particular year as far as his ruling is concerned. From matters health all the way to matters education, we'll be talking also issues to do with the county cash crunch in this particular nation, with the county government and the national government at a stalemate when it comes to disbursement of funds to the counties, with the counties demanding the 400 billion that had initially been allocated in the defunct Finance Bill 2024. And the National Assembly saying, by the way, that money is not around and we want to reduce that particular allocation to 380 billion shillings, which is 5 billion shillings less than what they had been allocated in the Finance Act of 2023. All that will be happening this particular morning here on Set, as we bring you up to speed with what you are waking up to. But I want us to start with the news today, and this has development stories that, of course, developed yesterday night. Now, the president has told of the naysayers, confidently declaring that critics of his administration will be proven wrong as his government works to deliver results. Now, during the signing of ministerial performance contracts at State House Nairobi, the president emphasized that every cabinet secretary will be held accountable for their ministry's performance, with rewards and consequences at the end of each financial year. This moves follows sharp criticism from various sectors, including the church, questioning the government's handling of key issues. David Kagina reports.
It is just past 9 a.m. at State House, Nairobi. One by one, cabinet secretaries who are now entering the third month in office following the most recent appointments signed their ministerial performance contracts in the presence of the president and the permanent secretaries. The president exuded confidence in his appointees to deliver where their predecessors failed. His original cabinet was dissolved after a public outcry, particularly from the Gen Z demographic, which mid this year led countrywide protests.
Although we are in a difficult place globally, economically, but I am very confident that we have the team, we have the people, and we have the plan and the goodwill to transform our nation.
The signing of the contracts comes at a time when the government is facing sharp criticism from various quarters, including the church, which has questioned the country's direction, particularly in the economic, education and health. The president remains confident that the critiques will ultimately be proven wrong.
And I promise you, we will confound the naysayers. We will succeed. This country will not fail. This great nation that God has given us will succeed. The enemies of Kenya will be put to shame because we are going to succeed. And we are going to take this country forward.
President William Ruto has also vowed to enforce strict sanctions for failure, negligence, waste and misconduct following the signing of the performance contracts. He announced that at the end of each financial year, every cabinet secretary will receive a performance report card that evaluates their ministry's achievements.
This scorecard will carry recognition, rewards, and sanctions which will be applied without fail. Excellence, integrity, efficiency, and consistency will be rewarded, while failure, negligence, waste, and misconduct will promptly invite corrective action. The failure of one sector of government, one department, one agency, one ministry affects the overall performance of government.
The signing of the performance contract by the cabinet secretaries comes at a time where President William Ruto's government is being heavily criticized over its failure to deliver in its promises, with the president's clarion call being for Kenyans and state officers specifically to ensure they deliver in their mandate in order for the government to deliver to Kenyans as a whole. For K24 from State House, Nairobi, I'm David Kagina.
All right, Kagina, away from that, a purge on former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's allies in Parliament had begun with the removal of Laikipia's Senator John Kinyua, which was disguised as his resignation as Parliamentary Service Commissioner. Now, as more are on the chopping board for removal as committee chairpersons and members, K24 Tv has exclusively learned that National Assembly Budget Chair Ndindi Nyoro will be replaced by Finance Chair Kuria Kimani in the powerful committee, as ODM will fill Kuria's position. Joel Chacha now reports on Gachagwa's allies who have vowed to remain true to their cause despite the witch hunt.
In polarization of the high calling.
Just weeks after the removal of Rigathi Gachagwa as deputy president, his allies are now on the chopping board, meaning they are set to lose lucrative parliamentary positions.
Officials when they fall short of expectations.
Already, the Laikipia Senator John Methu has been replaced by his Nyeri counterpart Wahome Omatinga as Parliamentary Service Commissioner. Despite the move being attributed to Kinyua resigning, he has refuted the claims, making it apparent that he was forcefully ejected.
Very, very straightforward matter. We had already canvassed who our representatives are in PSC. And given that one of our colleagues has resigned from this position, we are requesting the House to simply replace him.
One of the major weaknesses of the Kenya Kwanza government is the lack of proper communication, and again, the toxic politics that have been pushed by some people for their own gains. This has seemed to isolate the government from the people.
K24 TV has further exclusively learned that Kiharu legislator Ndindi Nyoro is said to be replaced as the Budget and Appropriations Committee chair by the Molo Member of Parliament Kuria Kimani, who is currently serving as the Finance Committee chair. The ODM party is reportedly poised to replace Kuria Kimani with Dr. John Ariko, who is the vice chair of the party, to become Finance Committee chair. Gachagwa's allies say they are ready for the political repercussions and will continue to stand with the son of the mountain.
The people from the mountain, of course, feel it defranchised because they feel the deputy president has gone. Our chairs, we have a very strong seat for the chair of budget, is about to go. Maybe my chair as a select committee is not that important, but the members of my region and my constituency feel, because I informed them that I have gotten that seat, if I don't have it, I'll still go and inform them I don't have it, it has been taken away. They will definitely feel like they are not full stakeholders in this government.
He may think that he can maybe take what he has given to Murima for political reason, but I don't think that, in fact, it is the high time to punish any region because of politics.
Despite losing parks and influence in various committees, they believe their true mandate is representing the interest of the electorates. On the chopping board are Gathonio Mushomba serving as Constitutional Implementation Chair, James Gakuya Trade Chair, Wanjiku Muhe Regional Integration Chair, Kareke Mbuki Tourism and Wildlife Chair, Johanna Ngeno Housing Chair, Nimro Dumbai Public Petitions Chair, and Vincent Musyoka is serving as the Energy Chair. Joel Chacha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Of course, interesting times ahead as far as that purge is concerned, and also the political space. We'll be tracking that and bringing you up to speed with that. Now, away from that, recent events that have led to the Catholic Church returning a donation from President William Ruto to continues to paint a picture of a deteriorated relationship between the church and the state. Now, the House of God, which has been very instrumental in Kenya's political scene, seems to be taking back its power after years of aligning with the political class. I take a look at the relationship between the political class and the religious groups that has since gone sour. On November 14th, 2024, the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, led by Archbishop Maurice Mohatia, issued a State of the Nation address, accusing the government of fostering a culture of lies and neglecting the needs of the citizens.
Culture of lies is swiftly replacing the integrity and respect that Kenyans deserve.
These statements provoked a strong reaction from the government, triggering a flurry of responses. When President William Ruto addressed the matter, he did not hold back. However, the Catholic bishops found support from other interdenominational clergy who affirmed their stand. As relations between the government and the church soured, President Ruto made attempts to mend fences.
Mimi nafikiri ndio nikamilishe kesho, nafikiri nitatafuta mahali ya kwenda ibada ya Jumapili katika kanisa Katoliki ndio iwe complete.
On that Sunday, the president donated 5.8 million to the Catholic Church in Soweto, Nairobi. However, the gesture backfired almost immediately, with the Archbishop Philip Anyolo of the Nairobi Archdiocese criticizing the donation as unconstitutional. The Catholic Church is the latest addition to a growing list of religious groups openly challenging the government.
When you see another group of the church saying we are going to call a demo to go to the streets, we are going to tell our people not to allow you to donate money in our churches. So this is something that should wake them up and tell them that since 25th of June of 2024, the country has never been the same again.
Evangelist Teresia Wairimu, founder of Faith Evangelistic Ministries, a church frequently attended by President William Ruto and First Lady Rachel Ruto, also criticized the Kenya Kwanza government. In her sermon, Wairimu lamented the church's waning confidence in the president despite their earlier support. Beyond the Catholic Church, other religious organizations have also voiced strong objections to the government policies. The National Council of Churches of Kenya condemned the Finance Bill 2024, arguing that it places an undue burden on ordinary citizens. Anglican Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit similarly criticized the government, particularly its failure to address economic challenges affecting the youth. He called for immediate solutions to high taxes, the housing levy, and the soaring cost of fuel. The Evangelical Alliance of Kenya has been vocal in opposing proposed religious organizations bill of 2024. The bill seeks to impose stricter regulations on religious institutions, including taxing church income. The EAK described the bill as unfair and restrictive, warning it could hinder their ability to provide critical social services such as health and education.
He really whipped the church in campaigning against the Constitution of Kenya 2010 in terms of inciting believers and making them believe that the Constitution allows abortion in this country. And that thing, that narrative of same-sex marriages, all those nonsense that were being fabricated, and because of the ignorance of people of Kenya, and most of the Kenyans did not have a chance to get a document even to read or even understand it. So that wave was used by William Ruto to influence the church.
It's not just Christian groups taking a stand. The Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims has also criticized the government for delays in reconstituting the IEBC and for rampant corruption in government. As the reactions continue to grow, Kenyans are left grappling with the widening rift between the government and the faith-based institutions, with the Catholic bishops' actions receiving praise from the public.
Hiyo pesa yote nao mafadha waliregesha hiyo pesa na wakasema hawataki. Kwangu ningesema kidogo niseme, hiyo pesa mungechukua mupeleke children's home.
Tena pesa ambazo ni za hongo. Hatutaki pesa ambazo ni za majivuno.
President William Ruto continues to face opposition from a group that propelled him to power. Attempts to woo them to his side, failing day by day. Brian Amoai, K24. Away from that, now President William Ruto's political fortunes in the vast Mount Kenya region appears to be dwindling by the day. Now, if the sentiments of the sections of residents and local leaders are anything to go by, now the ouster of Rigathi Gachagua as deputy president is said to have compounded President Ruto's woes in ensuring the region backs him in the 2027 general elections. Ian Ketani tells us more.
As the political matrix of the Mount Kenya region takes center stage yet again, the once perceived President William Ruto's political bedrock is now rocky, following the ouster of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who hails from the region. The vote-rich Mount Kenya region has for years been considered the most crucial voting bloc in the country, having voted in favor of the country's two former presidents in Mwai Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta, and more recently, overwhelmingly voting for President William Ruto in 2022. Nyeri residents who just a couple of years ago defended and voted for President Ruto now say the commander-in-chief is on his own, left to reap what he sowed.
William Samoei Ruto umaarufu alipoteza kabisa, hata watu yani hata kwa roho zetu. Mahari Mount Kenya imetanda, kila kona ya Mount Kenya hakuna mtu anasikia William rais hata kidogo. Na sijui, na naona kama ni doto kwa roho za wa Kenya, watu wa Nyeri, kwanza watu wa Mount Kenya hawezi rudi kwa roho zao. Hiyo ni kitu tulisahau kabisa. Na sijui kitu yenye anaweza fanya ili arudi. Sijui kunaweza kano atafanya ile miracle, lakini sidhani, sioni akirudi kwa roho. Kwa Mount Kenya ameisha kabisa.
Hiyo maarufu yake umeisha juu ametuagusha kama watu wa Nyeri. So mi naona hata sio hapa Nyeri, Mount Kenya yote hana umaarufu wote. Ametumia watu wabunge wetu kuagusha naibu wake mwenye alifanya tumpee kula. Alifanya hivyo.
The Senator Wahome Wamatinga, who voted for the oust of Rigathi Gachagua, holds the opinion that President Ruto's support in the region will be heavily dependent on the implementation of key pledges made during the campaigns.
We came into power with very, very high expectations from the voters, and especially about the high cost of living. These the government has not been able to address fully. Of course, there's a lot that has been done, but the impact on the ground has not been well felt. Therefore, the president has a lot of work that he needs to do. We also know that the political temperature went very, very high unnecessarily. The siasa of the Mulima versus the rest of the Kenya were not necessary, and this also seemed to pit the president against the people of Mount Kenya. What the people of the mountain are looking for are good places for their coffee, for their milk, for their macadamia, for their avocado, for their tea. Once they get that, and once the president is able to deliver that, he will have the people, the support of the mountain region and the south.
Recent events have laid bare the situation in the region, with President William Ruto bored during a church event in Embu County on Saturday, on the same day and event that the reception, according to his political friend turned nemesis Rigathi Gachagua and former President Uhuru Kenyatta, was seen as a message to the head of state. Kipipiri Lomeka Wanjiku Muiha now says President Ruto's goose is already cooked and he has lost ground in the region.
Hii imeenda. Mlima imeenda. We saw in Embu. So lazima sasa kazi ifanywe sana kubwa, na what I would say, some of these things are the ones making the Mlima to go. Could this continue happening, then we are only sharpening Wajiko's appetite to do the necessary come 2027.
The looming purge in the National Assembly is said to be yet another storm in waiting. Those targeted being perceived Rigathi Gachagua's sympathizers, top among them Ndindi Nyoro, James Gakuya and Wanjiku Muiha. Tharaka Nithi Senator Mwenda Gataya refutes claims that the support for President Ruto in the mountain has shifted, insisting that President Ruto enjoys massive support in the region.
Mount Kenya East, Mount Kenya Central, Mount Kenya West, bando tuko nyuma ya His Excellency the President of this Republic, William Ruto, na deputy wake Kithure Kindiki. Sijasikia kama kuna mgorogoro.
They say one day is a long time in politics, and there are many days to go before the 2027 elections. Ian Kitani, K24 TV, Nairobi.
All right, now residents of Nairobi's Sudley Estate are in distress following the demolition of their homes to pave way for the construction of modern housing units. Now, at least 43 residents have lost their houses, including veteran journalist Sami Lui, after their efforts to delay the demolition failed. As Timothy Simo reports, Nairobi County government has issued a statement defending the demolition, saying due procedure was followed and affected families will be compensated.
What was left of Woodley Estate, Nairobi, property owned by 43 residents, flattened. Affected families had tried to oppose the directive to evacuate them, but when the machines came roaring, no stone was left unturned.
A process ilikuwa ongoing, hata initially ilikuwa wa ground break tufanye public participation ya misho so that they are embarked in the ongoing process. But unfortunately, jana usiku at 11:15, earlier walikata stima 11:15, waka-embarked on the demolition.
The county government of Nairobi says the demolition will give space for the construction of 1,975 units that will accommodate more people.
Mtu ameishi hapa for over 60 something years, na ukuje umtoe hivi, viti ikuwe nje, mattress ikuwe nje, saa hii hakuna choo, you know, it is very painful. Ujue ataenda wapi.
The residents say families, including that of veteran journalist Sami Lui, are devastated. They argue they needed more time to agree.
Tuko na washujaa kama Sami Lui, unaona nyumba yake, na Sami Lui ni mzee, ni mtu harakati yake haijakuwa mzuri, na sasa ukimvunjia nyumba hii ni kama you are killing someone silently without shooting him with a gun. Na tuko na the family of Midika, Achieng' Oneko, Mutisia, and even Mudavadi, nyumba zao ziko hapa. So it is very unfortunate na amevunja nyumba za watu hivi. The government should take care of the citizens.
Governor Johnson Sakaja says in a statement sent to our newsroom, the process was considerate enough to offer each family 900,000 shillings as compensation for the time they'll be away.
Kuna hisia kwamba kuna wale walipewa pesa katika county hall, na framework yenye walipewa nao pesa ndio seta ni baadhi ya watu wengine walikataa kuchukua pesa, baadhi wengine walichukua pesa na wataki kuaccept ya kwamba walichukua pesa.
Further, Sakaja says they will be given priority during the allocation of new units once completed. The proposed 300 Woodley Village estate will include a swimming pool, playground, and a shopping center, setting a new standard for urban living in Nairobi, concludes the statement. Timothy Simwa, K24 TV.
All right, and of course that is just one of the issues when it comes to do with land. And for our conversation this particular morning, we'll be touching on some of these issues that we normally see. As far as demolitions are concerned, what exactly happens if people say we've been living on this particular land for a period of, this amount of years, and yet the government comes and says this is public land, trying to get the difference when it comes to that. And actually, who has the right of way? Of course, I'll be speaking to Lady Justice Losimbugwa to get an insight on that particular conversation as we continue to understand what the Environment and Lands Court do here in the country as they mark 12 years since inception, right? Now, the Court of Appeal in Nairobi has rejected a request for interim stay orders sought by the Rebel Jubilee Party members led by Iyala MP Kanini Kega for former Cherangani MP Joshua Kutunyi, following an earlier ruling by Judge Janet Mulwa that the party's meeting held on February 10, 2023 was improperly convened and in flagrant violation of the law and the party's constitution. And now Kega and Kutunyi moved to court and filed an appeal that sought to overturn the High Court decision, listing Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni and Vice Chair David Muradhi as respondents. Now, despite filing the petition as urgent, the appellate court declined to grant the stay orders and instead set the hearing and determination date to March 7th, 2025. Right, what's the time? 6:25. We are due for our first break here on the program. When we come back, of course, I'll be taking you through what you're waking up to as far as newspapers are concerned, some of the headlines that you expect when you grab your copy of the dailies today, what you'll be expecting to see and read today. I'll be taking you through that, and also later on then have a conversation with my guest, taking a look at the Environment and Lands Court here in the country since 2012 up to date. What has the journey been? Trying to understand what sort of cases they deal with and some of the challenges they're facing. And you as a Kenyan, what, how, when, at what point and when exactly do you seek their services here in the country? And also there's an event coming up. I'll be talking about that a little bit, and also issues to do with climate justice. It has not been an issue, a subject of conversation for the longest of time, but of late it has been in every other part of conversation that people are having in the country and across the globe. We'll be seeking to get that understanding here on set with my guest, Honorable Lady Justice Lucy Mbugua, will be here with me this particular morning. I take a break. I'll be back in a few.